Hello everyone, hope you're all well. So this morning I am going to, I promised that I would, oh what's that on there? It's chalk I think. So I promised I would show you how I made this little bag. So this is like an amulet pouch, but you could use it for all sorts of things, you know. I mean, it looks lovely hung up. I've been hanging it up, and you can wear it. Yeah, and I used just some scrap wool to make it as well, and red thread. I added these little pieces of scrap fabric and I slow stitched them on. I left this as a little pocket. I don't know how practical it is, but I like the idea of having a little pocket there. I've actually glued this on with hot glue gun. I don't often do that, but I didn't want to hide this lovely thread running through. I hope you can see that running through the stone there. I picked this up on a beach. Not too far from me, famous Seaham Beach, famous for glass, but yeah, so that's, and then I used a combination of blue and, let me just see, I don't know what you can see. Can you see that blue and sort of a browny colour, which matched that really well? And it was just wool, some wool that I had left over. So yeah, oh no, it was actually, you know, wool that you sew with. Wasn't left over, we had a pack of them, and so yeah, I used that. So then I made a nice little hanging pouch that I can wear, so it can have lots of different uses. You know, you'll know that I go foraging quite often, and I spend a lot of time out and about. When I do go out, spend time looking. I've got that sort of eye from practice, you know, when you see things, feathers, things like that, that I pick up. I picked up some, I was out on a walk the other day and I picked up some acorns. So, you know, it's things like that could go in there. So yeah, so that's my little, and then herbs, things like that, seeds. I mean, particularly now, seeds is a good time. You can start to collect seeds from gardens and things, and you know, you can collect them from different places. So, you know, out in the wild, if you want wild plants and what have you. So lots of different uses anyway. But anyway, I said I would show you how to do it, so that's what I'm going to do. So I've got this fabric here, which is a vintage Japanese linen, and I'm really sort of partly reluctant to use it. The alternative is, well, I've got a few alternatives here, but one of them is this lovely rust dyed fabric, and I'm tempted to use that as well. I mean, that's lovely and grungy. I might use this, you know, just because it's cut already. Such a lovely fabric. So the only thing is, it's going to be quite wide. Let me think. Yeah, I mean, I could cut that piece off, and that could, yeah, let me think. It doesn't have to be a, you know, like a almost a square, though that's a rectangle, but you know what I mean. It doesn't have to be have any particular width, but yeah, sort of to hang nicely, we're looking at probably that size. And obviously, if you want to, you can turn over the top like that, or you can turn it that way. You can have the thread going through, which I might do actually, some thread going through so you can just pull it tight. Now what I might do with this one is not do this sort of necklacey handle, I don't know what to call it really, but yeah, I might do a small sort of pouch that you pull together. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. Made my decision. So what I'm going to do, decide how much I want. I'm going to have it around about maybe a bit bigger than that big. Considering this is going to be a pouch that I carry in my bag rather than hang around my neck. So about that big, so I will cut off this much and rip it off. I've still got a nice piece to use there. It's lovely and soft, by the way. And then I can just fold that in that way, and that one will be folded in that way. So it will look like that, something like that. It's the other way around, isn't it? Yeah, like that. So that will be the front, and like that. Yeah, so it's quite a big pouch. And then I'll sew the sides. Now, do I want to keep them shabby? Do you know what I think I do? I think I want to keep them shabby. I might leave it like this, you know, and just sew it down the side like that on both sides and keep it nice and shabby. So that's what I'm going to do. So I hope this works for you, because I know that, you know, you wanted to see this. But basically with this, all I did is I folded it that way. So I've got that fold. Well, it actually was naturally folded. It was already folded like that when I got the wool. So it was folded like that, and all I did was stitch it down with red and take it round. So let's imagine it's like that. So it was folded like this, and I took it round like that and then sewed that together like that. So that's how I did this one. This one, I think I'm going to do it the other way, like that. And then I'm just going to sew down that side and sew down that side, and then I'm going to have a pouch that pulls together like that, sort of in like that. Excuse me. So that's what I'm going to do. So I just need some just some thread. Oh, actually, I might slow stitch this first. Should we do that? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So I don't want anything too fancy in terms of thread. I've got some just thinking cream. Yeah, something like something. What's happened? Oh my word, come on. It's all messed. I love that blue. But I might do that as a sort of a... Right, I'm just going to cut it off because I'll be here all day trying to unravel it. It's my fault for having a messy bag of things. Okay, I'll keep that blue out just in case. I think that would be nice. Maybe just sew around the top. Okay, so I'm doing it like this. Oh no, I'm doing a slow stitch. Sorry guys, I know I'm getting confused with myself. Right, so I'm going to just start slow stitching all the way. Should have put a knot in it. That's my boiler in the background, by the way. I've got my boiler on to dry some clothes, but also to warm the house up a little bit because it's so cold in here. Okay, so I'm just going to do running stitch, and then I'll decide what I want to do, you know, if there's anything different I want to do afterwards. You can, you know, I can decorate it like this. I've got some little bits of fabric that I picked out that I could use, just little tiny bits of cloth that I can use as well. So I hope you're all doing well. So actually, by doing this, it's going to pull it in. So that might even, you know, sort of I was saying about cutting some off. I'm glad I didn't cut some off now, because I want to give it some tension to have that lovely effect. You know, what you could do if you wanted to is, you know, if you want it sort of a thicker, if it wanted thicker like the wall instead of just this, then yeah, just put something in between, you know, the layers or whatever. Because I'm going to use this as a pouch that I sort of pull in with you know, so it'll get pulled in like this. It's good for me to keep it. It's a strong piece of fabric anyway, but yeah, to pull it in like that is going to make it easier for me. So I don't need to add anything to it to make it thicker, is what I'm trying to say. But you might want to do that, just depending on what fabric you're using. I mean, this is a really simple project, you know. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. And that, you know, the wool one wasn't complicated. It was already that sort of shape. If you look at the photographs that I put on my post, you'll see that it was already, the wool fabric was already that shape when I before I used it. So it was just, like I said, a scrap piece of wool that I picked up in a shop in Hebden Bridge, which is in North Yorkshire, and it's a wool shop there. It sells all that lovely wool fabrics, different wool fabrics, and I think I mentioned I'd already spent my money, so I only had a little bit of money left to spend, really. I mean, I could have splurged, I guess, but yeah, I'm quite frugal. I like bargains, and, you know, don't like to pay full prices for things. So when I saw a scrap piece of wool, I thought I can use that. Lots of different ideas, but I can use it for putting in between. So for example, you know, using it instead of batting. I hope you guys can see okay. So this isn't going to be neat. I'm saying after the fact. Giving you fair warning. But I won't make you watch me sew all of this. I'll just show you a few lines, and then I will finish it off and then come to the next bit. So that's just take that back through there. I always forget where I'm going to finish off, to make sure that it's, you know, even. So yeah, just do whatever you want. You know, you can decorate it now. If you know exactly what you're going for, you could decorate your piece of cloth now before you sew it together, or you can do it when you're mind you, it'll make it difficult if you do it when it's already sewn up at the sides. It could make it difficult, so just be aware. I've given up on trying to do alternate stitches to these, you know. But yeah, it's going to look, I like this effect, you know, this sort of rippled effect that you get with cantha stitch or just running stitch. So and when I pull it in, it will look even nicer. It's just the week, I'm all over the place with my week at the moment. I forget what day of the week it is. It's so bizarre. I don't normally. Now remember, this is going to be folded in. or I could fold it. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I was gonna do it anyway, so it just strengthens the fabric, to be honest. Gives it extra strength by doing this. So I will be putting, you know, decorating it, I think, with other bit. I've got some pretty blue. I'm very drawn to pale blue. I've also got this that I stamped on, so I could cut a piece of this off or rip it off and put that on as well. So lots of different ideas, you know, and it's good. It's a good way of using up your scraps as well. Well, I mean, you'll only use a few, but you could make a few of these. I mean, you could sell them, you could give them away, you could have them hanging from a mirror, or, you know, have a lot of them yourself. I think they'll look really cool hanging from a mirror or a door, or, you know, a door handle, or like a cupboard handle, something like that. I think they'll look nice if you've got a few of them. And, you know, I mean, I've got lots of shells. I could put shells on the outside, stones, got gems I can use. I could use buttons that I love. So lots of different ideas. Right, so what I'll do now is, because you've seen me do this and I'm coming, well, no, I'll start this. I won't get very far, but I'll start this row and then I'll finish off doing this, because I don't want to, you know what Canthus stitch looks like. So I hope you don't mind me doing a different one, you know, and I hope that I can explain. If you particularly wanted to see something like that, then I hope I can explain for you how I did it, and you'll get a good idea. I'll just weave that back in there and there. I'll just cut a little bit off. So that will be like that. So I will finish this off and then I'll come back to you when I've done that. Right, so I'm back. What I've done is I've stitched the whole thing with just running stitch backwards and forwards, and I've used, you can't really see very well, but I've used lots of different coloured threads, but mostly sort of in the same tones, if you like, you know, creams and then onto it beige and then a bit darker, but generally in the same sort of colour scheme. So then the next thing I want to do before I stitch it up is I want to put something across it. Now I know this is a bit raggy, but I love this little bit of blue. And I was wondering, I'm just going to put the light on because it's a bit dark for me. Right, so I'll just fold that up so I know how it looks there. So, I mean, I want it raggy, so I'm happy to use bits of this. And this is a little bit of shirt, a bit of shirt that was mine. Yeah, so that's, I'm thinking I'm going to add that. So I'll just cut that bit off there. And I'll pop that on. Now, I've just left a little bit, excuse me, I'll move my coffee. I've just left a little bit on the edge there just to make sure I've got enough. Excuse me, sorry. So yeah, I need to stitch that on. I'm just wondering if there's anything else I want on there as well. I can't keep that down. What I might do is just put a little bit of, oh, I can put a pin in it. Yeah, let's put a pin in it. There. Okay, so that's pinned down. This isn't yet, but I'll pin it down as well. This will be where the thread runs through. Okay, so that looks a bit wider, but I'm not worried about that right now. So then, excuse me, sorry. So then that is going there, so across there like that. I'm just wondering whether to use something else as well. I just want to lighten it a bit, if you know what I mean. So I've got scraps of fabric, I've got a bit of lace there. I'm just wondering whether to take a bit of this off. If I take it off here, then it doesn't really affect, you know, I can still use this in some other capacity later on. It doesn't affect the, yeah, see, I quite like that as well. It's a bit grungy, a bit dirty. Yeah, so I'm going to have that there, I think. Or above it. I think it looks better below. There. Yeah, I like that. I'll just move that over a little bit. Yeah, I like those two on there. So I think I'll stitch those two on. Do I want anything else? I think probably don't want to make it too complex, because when it folds in as a, you know, if it's got too much bulk, it will be harder to fold in, I guess. Although I might be making that up. Don't take my word for anything. Don't think there's anything else I want to use. Ooh, well, I'm liking the thin, you know, hard to unravel this, but to get to see it, but I'm liking that. Oh yeah, I really like that. Okay, so that's going on as well. So that's my just take off some of these. That's going to be my next bit of decoration. Now I could do it that way, or I could do it that way. It definitely wants to be down there, or I could do it down here. What about there? Sometimes I find it really hard to see things, you know, when you've been working on something. Not that I've found these things, but I think it looks better there. So I'm going to put that there as well. Okay, so good. Just put a bit of glue. Now, I don't mind sticking up. I think that just adds more interest. I might put it a bit further down actually, so you can see get the full effect of that lace, like that. Yeah, I really like that. Good, okay. So I'm not going to try and glue that down. I'm just going to let that sort of, you know, curl over, because I like that effect. Right, so that's going to be my decoration. And as I said, I'm going to try and stitch this on. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with this. So I'm just going to go down the middle. Oh, I didn't put a knot in it, but it's all right. Actually, I might do some crosses on this, you know. Maybe I will. Let's see. They might not be very neat, but that's okay. Just some scrappy little crosses. And they're not going to be neat, you know, as in all of the in a row in exactly the same way. I couldn't do that even if I wanted to be honest. But I like the effect. So obviously, you know, I mean, I'm saying you guys do whatever you want to do, but if you've got your piece of cloth, your main piece of cloth, and you decide how you want it to look, whether you want it to be, as I said, one piece wrapped around and then tied at the back or the side, folded over or not, folded in or out, like this is folded out. You could fold it in by folding it that way. So yeah, you want to decide how you want it to look. You can decide at this stage, you know, if you're going to do some stitching like I've done, or if you're going to add little bits of scraps that you've got, scrap bits of cloth that you've got, and stitch on top of those. I mean, I'm doing both, obviously. But I'm cutting down on time by not really doing a handle like this, because it took me a while to do that. But I'm enjoying doing this. It's just something a little bit different, you know. What I loved about this was the red thread and the stone. Well, all of it actually, but I did love the red thread. That really made it stand out, you know. And you think that it's a beige wool fabric, it's got nothing really going for it other than it's, you know, beige wool. It is beautifully soft, but it's not exciting in that respect. So the red just gave it that little bit of, you know, extra oomph, made it stand out. And especially because I've used neutrals in everything else as well. So my thoughts on this are to sew the sides up using a dark blue thread, which I really like. So I'm considering that as a possibility at the moment. Just make sure I've got that in the right place. I'll just, yeah, I'm going to just put a tiny bit of glue on the end there. Love that I'm using that lace as well. I've had this lace for a while, and I used it in one of my other projects on the top of I don't, it was on the top of a journal. I can show you it. It's just, I think maybe I made a pocket from it. I can't remember now. Oh no, it was the spine. It was my Christmas journal. So I have a couple of bits of it. So I used one bit for the spine. I mean, it was very tatty, so I had to, I used gold thread to fit, you know, to mend it, if you like. Alright, I'm not going to be able to do two here, so I'm just going to go in like that. Okay, I'll just leave that there. And I'm going to have to get some more thread. I think I'll use this colour. Okay, so let's just move those out the way. Right, so now I'm just wondering whether to do some sort of stitch going this way. So, you know, sideways, up and down. And I don't want it to be too domineering or anything like that, but I do want it to be a bit visible. I think I am going to stitch this down, so I will go into there. I'll come back this way. And start stitching backwards and forwards like this. So, you know, again, running stitch, but just, I guess, you know, stitching them down. That didn't go all the way through. Okay. I'm not going to attempt to stitch the edges of the lace down, just the blue at the top. Oh. Things going bump. Not in the night, during the day. I had something really spooky happen to me. Did I tell you this story? So I have a milk frother for that I use for frothing milk, obviously, and I hadn't used it for some time. I'd probably say 3 weeks, something like that. So it was just sitting there, and in the kitchen, and I was upstairs working in here, and when I went down in the afternoon, I heard a mechanical noise coming from the kitchen, and I went into the kitchen, and my frother was whirring round and round, and it was on, so it was on basically. My frother was on. The little frother head wasn't in position, so it was just rattling around the frother itself. And I couldn't figure out how it had turned on. There was nothing in it, you know, but I couldn't figure out how it had turned on, because the button that you press to turn it on would be hard to do by accident, but it also, you know, I mean, like, for example, if Bobby was on the kitchen worktop, which he generally doesn't do, he generally won't go on the worktop, but if he had done for whatever reason, it wouldn't be something that he could easily do, because it was sort of like a rubbery press-in sort of you know, button to press in, and I couldn't figure it out. I could not figure it out. I racked my brains. How could it happen? And you know, even if I had switched it off at the wall, which I hadn't, because I don't do that generally, I just leave it switched on at the wall, just because it's behind the microwave, and then for me to, you know, I'd have to move the microwave and other things, so I leave it on along with the microwave. You know, there's 2 switches together, 2 plugs, And so yeah, couldn't for the life of me work out. I had no idea how long it was wearing round and round. I thought maybe it would break, it would, if I tried switching it on later, it would be broken, because obviously it was just wearing round and round without anything inside of it and without the little frother head. So yeah, it did spook me. It freaked me out a little bit, I must admit. I just racked my brains about how you could do it. You know, one of those buttons that you press, it's sort of like a soft, rubbery, and then it's inside the piece. It's not like protruding outwards. It's, you know, you have to really press it hard to get it to work. You know, it's not easy. It's not just something you could knock over and or knock. It's just not that type of thing. Plus, it wasn't knocked over, but you couldn't even knock it. You couldn't even pass by it and knock it. You know. Just yeah. So yeah, no idea how. Tried to consider all the possibilities and couldn't come up with anything. So yeah, very, very spooky. I messaged my family because I was a bit freaked out, but yeah, nobody really took it seriously, whereas I think they would have, if it was in their home, they would have certainly freaked out. So I don't know, no idea. I mean, I didn't feel, yeah, I don't know what I felt. I just felt freaked out and I couldn't figure out, and that was it. It was just as simple as that. I didn't spend too long on it. I just sort of accepted what it was, and then, but for every now and again it comes to mind, and I think, well, how, you know, what on earth was that? Yeah, so yeah, I don't think I told you guys. I don't want to scare anyone. I mean, not that I could scare you, I'm sure, but yeah, these things, you know, inexplicable things do happen, and we just, yeah, nothing's happened since, so I'm not, you know, that's why I haven't thought about it too much, but it just came to mind there. I don't know why. Yeah, really love that. I hope it looks as nice from where you are. I don't know if you can see the stitches. Yes, you can. Yeah. Okay, good. I hope my head wasn't in the way. Right, so then the next thing to do is to sew it up, or to sew this and then push it through, push the thing through. Which do I do first? Right, let me have a look and see how dark this thread looks. What do you reckon? I think that really complements it. I'm not going to try and it's either that or brown, but I want some, I think I want blue. You see what a lovely colour this is? It's actually, it's vintage. It's one of the silk ones. Right, now what I've got to remember is I can't sew that because I'm going to have that. What I can do though is sew from here, I guess. Yeah, I'll sew from here. Didn't put a knot in it. Julie. Thank you to all of you who have sent me, well, have, you know, been commenting on my page recently. It's lovely to hear from you. I'm very grateful for you, and I don't know if, oh, silly me. Silly Billy me. Right, that's okay. I haven't done anything drastic. I just want to make sure that I get that side as well. Yeah, so thank you to you guys for commenting, your lovely comments, supportive comments. You know, they really make a difference to how I feel about my channel, and I'll try and do it. I mean, I don't want it to be perfect again, so I'm just gonna stitch down the side. If I don't like it, I will take it out, but yes, so I really appreciate you all. Just wanted to say, I'm just grateful, and it makes me want to do more, and I would like to do more. I want to do more videos. I've been going through a bit of a funny stage where I'm not happy with my videos. I spend a lot of time on them, and when I do that and I don't like them, it's really hard, you know. Because then they're wasted. It's a waste of time. I'm not really learning anything. I can't say it's a learning experience, because it's just a case of I'm not happy with it. You know, I don't feel it's good quality, so I feel like I have to abandon that particular one. So yeah, but anyway, just the ins and outs of, if you have a channel yourself, you might realise, I'm pretty sure you would anyway, because it happens to all of us, you know, especially those of us that have experience, but we're not quite at the level of other people who've been doing it for a long time, or maybe just people with more confidence, I don't know, but are happy to put things out that even sometimes they're not happy with. I mean, I'm not saying my videos are all excellent quality, because quite often they're not, you know, and I sometimes wonder if I should put some things out, especially when they're heavily edited. But I do it because I want to get a video out and I want to be consistent. But yeah, this week I made a video. It was a long one, so there was lots of editing, and in the end I decided to abandon it, so that's how it goes. Happy with the blue. Wasn't sure, but I am happy. It's such a beautiful sort of petrol blue. And I think with grunge, a sort of a grungy, you know, sort of piece of cloth like this, it's been rust dyed. It can take something a bit darker, so it's not okay. All right, so I'm going to go back there and just come out here, and that should do it. Okay, so yeah, So yeah, I'm happy with that blue, and then I will go across with the blue as well. Let's do the other side. Plus it's holding them down. Yeah. So you can see with this is hiding some of that stitch at the top, but it's basically that starts there and goes all the way down. I did slow stitching all round like that, going that way. Didn't do any. I did the red all the way around, and then obviously I stitched these on. So it's fairly straightforward. There's nothing really. I mean, just look inside. So you can see on the inside how I stitched it there. And stitched the little studs on. Forget what they're called now. We used to call them studs. I think nowadays they're called snaps. Right. When I was a child, we called them studs. So I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm going to try and do it so I mean, I think if you work out, you know, if you've got your fabric and you sit down, you can decide for yourself what sort of look you want to have for it, whether you want it to look like this or this, whether you want, I mean, I saw one where it comes over, you know, the top comes over, and I really like that as well. So my next one I might do that actually. Where I, you know, bring a flap over the top. Just making sure I'm going through that side as well. I'm not necessarily wanting a straight line, but I'm making sure that I'm going through both and I'm not going through that frayed edge, you know, so I've got plenty of space to put so at least, I mean, at least I can say I've used up my scraps, because I have used scraps for this. I might put something else on to decorate it, but I don't know, because it's going to be pulled in with a, you know, like a I can't think of the name, you know, I can't think of what I'm trying to say, but I think, you know, with a ribbon, so it's pulled in at the side, like a duffel bag, but obviously on a much smaller scale. Like a tea bag. It's a giant tea bag. Okay, so in there like that, and then back through. I'm going to go here again. Yeah, I'll go back through there, and then I will just come through the middle there, and then I can just cut it off there. Right, so that's good. I'm happy with that. So they're loosely stitched down, if you like, but I mean, really like that. What do you think? Now I've got this. This is rust dyed as well. What if I take a strip of this, very thin strip, like that, and then I need two, don't I? Okay. Oh, it's a bit thinner. Not too bad. It's not noticeable to that degree. It's just a bit thinner. Okay, so then that will go in there. So if I can push that through. Good. And then I push it through that side. And then I just have to be very careful about where I stitch it up. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to have to be very careful about where I stitch it. But that's one side done. And then this side I will do the same thing. So I'm not going to do it on one side, I'm going to do it on both sides, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I could knot one side, but I think, well, I'll be knotting them anyway so they don't come through, but I'll have a closure on both sides, I think is what I'm trying to say. I'm not doing a good job of saying it. Oh well, never mind. Okay, that's going in there. And it was not completely me being too heavy-handed then. So I'm going to try not to do that on this side. There, I can see. Okay. Right, so yeah, so I'm going to have to be very careful how I sew those on, but that's what they'll look like. And then when I pull them through, when I've got some tension, I can't do it right now, but yeah, they will go through like that and through like, I can't do it on this side. Well, that, so it will look like that, a little bag that will close like that. Obviously a bit nicer than that. So let's do that then. In fact, I'll do it off camera and so you can see, because I'm just going to stitch it down. I'm not going to do anything fancy. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so what I've done is I have stitched across there on both sides, so you can see it coming across there and there, and just sort of secured that a little bit more. I think I should secure it a little bit more because, you know, it needs to be fairly tight if you're going to be messing about with it. Now, what I could have done a couple of things, so I could still do it. So what I could do is I could sew these two ends together so that when you pull that through, it will just be one piece, and then you've got this on the other end. Or I can just keep that knot there and then just pull that in when I want to. The only thing is, it is putting a strain on because it's a knot. I don't know if it's going to put a strain on there, but that's the option. And then you can knot those two pieces together if you want to and hang something from it. Actually, it would be nice to have a bead or something there, but that's, you know, I did think about doing it where you could pull both sides in, but I don't think it works with this. It might work with something else, but it's quite hard to do for both sides to be pulled in at the same time. So I'm going to leave it like this, but I'm going to pull it like that. And so, as I say, I might put a little bead on the top. No, it's not right. what have I done there? Yeah, I might put, well, actually I could just do both sides like that, just have two sides like that, and then, you know, they're not going to go anywhere. So pull them together like that, and I could have beads on there, and that's it. Pop something in, and I've got a lovely pouch. Now I did see this, and I did wonder about, but it's a bit big. If I find a smaller one, I might put something like that on the back, but at least I can still sort of stitch through. Really happy with this. This is probably, well, no, I love the grunginess of the fabric, so actually I don't think I will cover that up. I could put something small on, so if I find anything, but I just wanted to show you, you know, where's the other one? Here. You know, the different options. That's quite a lot bigger. But yeah, so it's a bit slow stitch, making a pouch. This one I can wear around my neck. This one can go in my bag, and I can keep it there if I want to put things in it. So it can sit in one of my pockets. I can hang them both up. So if I tie that together, I can hang them up somewhere like this, and that one like that. So yeah, hope you like that. As I say, I think I might, yeah, I'll figure that what I want to do out of it, and I'll take a photograph if I change it. But for now, this is what it looks like. Hope you like it. Oh, something there. There we go, and that side. I don't mind them actually, but I like the grunginess of the you know, the edges there. I'm not going to take them off. I like the fact that the edge is frayed. I've got a lovely nice pocket on the inside. It's really sturdy, and I love the decoration as well with my little cross stitches. I'll just show you, see if you can see them, my little crosses. There you go. And then the stitches going back up and down like that, and I really love it. Really happy with it. So I hope you like that. Hope you enjoyed it, and it's given you a couple of ideas. You can make that one or that one. This one, as I said, it's fairly straightforward. It is sewn up at the bottom here, whereas this one isn't. So, you know, folding it over that way is much easier. Then you just stitch the two sides. Actually, they're both quite simple, but with this one you're stitching down the middle and then, or at the side, and then down across the bottom. With this one you're stitching the two sides. So, and then whatever else you want to add to it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll leave it here, and I will be back for another video very soon. So take care everyone, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.